Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Monday, January 12th, 2015, around 8:25 p.m. Billerica, Massachusetts. About 35 degrees out, and some clouds out there. We could get a passing snow flurry or two or snow squall, but nothing significant. Tomorrow's going to be real cold. Some news to report. The Denver Broncos and Coach John Fox have mutually agreed to part ways, which, this is kind of a surprise and stuff like that. And also, there's been rumors that Peyton Manning might have played his last NFL game, because I heard he might not want to play for another coach now that John Fox is no longer coaching the Broncos. And also, Peyton Manning played with a partially torn quad muscle. So we'll see what's going to happen about that. And that's about it on the news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is about one of the most famous classic sitcoms of all time. The sitcom is The Bob Newhart Show. The Bob Newhart Show lasted 6 years, and it was about a psychologist out of Chicago named Dr. Bob Hartley, and it was a very classic sitcom. It ran on the air from September 16th, 1972 to April 1st, 1978 on CBS. It was created by David Davis and Lorenzo Music for MTM, and it starred Bob Newhart as Dr. Bob Hartley as a psychologist, Suzanne Plesh as his wife Emily Hartley, who was an elementary school teacher, Bill Daly as Howard Borden, an airline pilot who eventually became captain, and Howard was Bob and Emily's neighbor in the apartment building they shared, and he was so very friendly. He would always say hi, Bob, at least 5 times on the show. Peter Bondra as Jerry Robinson, the dentist that shares the same office suite area as Bob does, and Marsha Wallace as Carol Kessler, their receptionist secretary, and a recurring character was Jack Riley as Elliot Kalin. He would always see Bob about his problems and stuff like that. And the show revolved around Bob and it divides the time between Bob's characters and at work and his home life, and most of the situations it plays off. Bob plays usually the straight man, and to his wife, colleagues, and friends. And Patience and this was an extension of his Bob Newhart stand-up comedy routine, where he would play one of his telephone conversations in the other side, and it was not heard. And the show had a lot of funny episodes and humor, and sometimes Bob would get mad or Emily would get mad, and also he would have episodes that revolve Bob's group of people he would see regularly at his office for the psychologist, and it was pretty funny and stuff like that. I loved watching the Bob Newhart Show, and they had a very, very catchy theme song for the first 3 seasons, which was do 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 do. That song was called "Come Home to Emily," and that first 3 seasons that was the thing. But they, I think from the 4th through 6th seasons, they had to update that song, make it a more jazzier sounded, which I really didn't like that version of it. And Bob Newhart Show was like on Saturday night for CBS for 6 years, and it was on and it usually was with classic sitcoms like All in the Family, MASH, Mary Tyler Moore, and a few others. And it peaked in the ratings its second season by being in number 12th overall in the 1973-1974 season. And it finished in the top 20 for many years. In 1977, Bob Newhart was going to actually walk away from CBS, and because the Mary Tyler Moore Show ended its 7-year run-in, Bob Newhart was just going to walk away from doing the Bob Newhart Show, but the contract he had with CBS didn't run out for another season, and if he was going to be sued by CBS if he did that, because that would be breach of contract, but he talked it out, and he decided to do a sixth and final season. And the last episode of the Bob Newhart Show, Bob quits his job as a psychologist in Chicago and to take a teaching job in like Oregon and stuff. And it was very, they had an emotional episode and stuff, and they said happy trails to him and stuff. It was a very fitting way to end the Bob Newhart Show. And reruns of the Bob Newhart Show was seen in Boston on WSBK TV 38 for many years, and then WQTV 68, and then it's been on TV Land and Nick at Night. It's shown Monday nights from 10 to 11 on MeTV. And actually Bob Newhart kind of reprised his role as Dr. Bob Hartley in the final scene of the sitcom Newhart, where Bob's character on Newhart, who was Dick Loudon, was hit by a golf ball and he falls down, and next thing you know, Bob wakes up in the bed, which is the same bedroom that they used on the Bob Newhart Show, and Bob says to Emily, honey, I had this dream. You wouldn't believe this dream. I was an innkeeper in Vermont, and he was saying that the handyman didn't know how to point, and then this guy was married to a heiress. There was this three woodmen that three woodmen brothers, that two of them didn't talk, and he was married to a beautiful blonde. And Emily says, that's it, no more Japanese food before you go to bed, good night. And then like Emily says to Bob, what do you mean beautiful blonde? And Bob says good night to Emily, and that was probably the funniest ending of any sitcom in history. And actually they had a Bob Newhart show retrospective in 1991. It was actually called the Bob Newhart 19th Anniversary Special that aired in CBS in November 1991, and they relived the cast and the characters relived the best moments of the Bob Newhart Show, which was pretty funny and stuff. And the first 4 seasons of the Bob Newhart Show are on DVD from from Fox, which now owns all the MTM shows. They did moderately successful, but Fox did not release season 5 or 6, and eventually the Shout Factory purchased the rights to release all the complete series of the Bob Newhart Show on DVD, and it's all of it you could buy at shoutfactory.com. Bob Newhart Show is one of the most funniest television sitcoms of all time. I really loved it, especially when Howard would always say hi Bob a lot, and also all of the Bob's patients and stuff. There was one thing in particular I really liked. The second season, when there was a character on there played by Henry Winkler before Happy Days, and his Fonzie character, that he gave Bob a VCR, which was very, very new at the time and stuff. And Bob watched it and had to check what the weather was the previous night to see if it came true or not. That was pretty good. And that's about it on that. I'm finished for doing these video blogs for the night, but I'll be back for 3 more video blogs tomorrow. The first one will be about the top 10 players and top 10 pitchers in Houston Astros history. Then the second one will be about the 1989 WWE Royal Rumble review, the first pay-per-view, which was held at the Summit in Houston, Texas. I'll tell you my thoughts on that. And the third and final video blog of the night will be about the new classic digital television network called Decades, which was going to be co-owned by CBS Television and WeGo Broadcasting. And don't forget, Wednesday's going to be the personalized profiles will be for 2 days, because the top 10 will be sitting out for 2 days. It will be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, until I'm finished with these first 13 Royal Rumble preview reviews. And don't forget, coming soon to these video blogs, Julie Broughton's video blog and Heidi Pratt's video blog. And 2 of the nicest ladies in the world with great smiles and nice legs. Good night, everybody, and see you tomorrow.